Blog Talk Radio. Has anyone ever told you you dream too big, that you have too many ideas, that you need to be realistic? What if there was a career and lifestyle that you could completely design yourself that enables you to do what makes your heart truly sing and helps millions of people benefit from what you have to offer? One that provided you with all the money you need to thrive, not just survive. That is the life of an enlightened entrepreneur. Welcome to the Aha Moments radio show, dedicated to the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened entrepreneurs worldwide, with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments Inc. and AhaMomentsInc.com. Her motto, oh yes, you can have what you want, and you deserve it too. Join us for the next hour and learn to trust your aha moments to lead the way to a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari. Welcome to Transformation 2012, a telesummit dedicated to the inspiration, education, and enlightenment of lightworkers worldwide. With your host, Mariana Cooper, from the Aha Moments radio show, and 10 of the most powerful spiritual leaders of our times. In this new energy, anything is possible. And now here's your host, Mari.
Welcome to Transformation 2012, a telesummit dedicated to the inspiration, education, and enlightenment of lightworkers worldwide. I'm Mari, and welcome to day number 9. How was your weekend? Because we had the weekend off, right? I mean, you had Hazel Courtney on Saturday, so hopefully if you didn't get to listen to her on Saturday, you're listening to the replay. And then yesterday was a day off, so everybody could catch up, and so Sam and I could catch our breath. And here we are back again, and tonight's special guest is Allison Hayes, the rock girl, and we're going to talk all about crystals tonight, and we are going to do some readings as well. I just spoke to Allison, and we figured out how to do it because she does some incredible readings. I've had several readings with her myself, and she does amazing readings with crystals. So if you were going to write in a question tonight and you have you want to ask something about your life and get Allison's take on it, please pick a number between 1 and 41. So that's anything from 1 to 41. And put that in with your question because Allison will pick the stones that align. She has 41 stones, and each stone has a number. So when you pick from 1 to 41, she's going to pick the stones and then do your reading based on which stones that you pick. So make sure, and I'll announce it out the evening, that you pick a number between 1 and 41. Include that in with your questions. I know several of you have already written questions in, so go ahead. If your question happened to be in a reading type nature, where you were asking for some kind of predictive information, then please just write back in and let us know what your 3 numbers are, so Allison can do the best she can, because we're not having live callers asking questions. So, also, you know that we are coming to the end of our Telesummit tomorrow. So tomorrow's the last night with Summer McStravick. We will be doing opening up the replays so you guys can listen in until, I think, Saturday. And the special offer packages and the albums and all of the different offers that everybody's offered will be available until then as well. So you want to make sure, and that's while supplies last, because some of the people are selling so well, we had to put a limit on how many packages can be sold. So just make sure if there's a package you would like, please go ahead and get it as soon as you can. And there's albums both with transcripts and with just the MP3, so you can take a look at all of that. You'll be getting emails and stuff, but I just wanted to let you know, since tomorrow's our last night. I can't believe that went so fast. So anyway, tonight we're going to be talking all about transformation and using crystals to create those transformations or enhance our transformations in our life. And now, let me say hi to Allison. Hey, Allison. How are you?
Hey, Mari. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
I am so excited to have you. This is, last time we just had just unprecedented number of emails and everything after our talk on the 11-11-11 Telesummit. So I could not have you come back. So thank you so much for coming and being willing to hang out with Sam and I again. And I wanted to give everybody who doesn't know you a chance to just hear your story a little bit about how you got involved with the stones, because you're not just, any old crystal person. A lot of people, like crystals and they think that because they have a book and they can see what the crystal means, now they're a crystal expert. But you go way, 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 way beyond that. So you want to tell everyone about how you developed your relationship with your stones?
Oh, okay. How long do we have? How long is this show anyway? Is it an hour or 2 hours, by the way?
No, it's 90 minutes.
Oh, okay, good. A lot of nines tonight. Tonight's the ninth night. We have 90 minutes. 9 is my lucky number, so that's great.
Wow, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I will. A lot of people ask this question, and I kind of start off in a different way. I believe that I go back thousands and thousands of years with this stuff, and obviously being only 45 3/4 years old, I believe that I've done this for many, 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 many lifetimes and studied with different mentors and teachers and gurus throughout many of my lifetimes. And so I have channelings that go way back to the times of Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, Russia, and all the way through the Greek and Roman times. And so I do believe that I've been doing this for many lifetimes. And funny enough, in this lifetime as Allison Hayes, I started as a young kid and I didn't even really know it. I grew up on a farm and I connected with the animals, the trees, the stones, and I always communicated with nature and felt that there was magic in the unseen energy around us. And the first thing that I would actually say, I can trace it back to 7th grade in, what is this? We have biology, geology. Do you remember that box of rocks, the specimens that we all got in 7th grade, and they were all glued to the paper?
Yes.
Well, I think that, I used to collect stones and things like that when I was younger and put them in my tree house and in the barns and things like that, and make fairy circles. And those were just kind of rough, tumbled rocks that I found out in nature. But when I really started connecting to crystals and minerals, which are different than there is a certain type of stones because of the ions, molecules, and atoms within them, the arrangement. They carry more light and energy, and they're louder, if you will, to the lay person. We can hear them more. I remember it being in Buckingham Friends School in Buckingham, Pennsylvania, and I got my box of rocks in geology, and I picked up the pyrite stone because it had fallen off the glued paper. And I thought I got a bummed-out box because a lot of them were loose in there when I opened it, and it zapped me. And I was like, uh-oh, what was that? And so I carried that box of rocks around with me for years, and I would do rock readings at recess outside. I went to a friend's school, so they were very into communing with nature and nature walks and things like that. And so I would ask people to pick, or kids, my classmates, to pick the stones, and I would actually tell them what the stones had to say. And so that was the real beginning of my rock readings. And as a child, I was always psychic, and I always knew things, and I thought everybody else knew things. And so I had that psychic thing going on in there. And really the only way I made sense of it was connecting to the stones. And then when everybody started to call me weird, I hid the rocks under my bed. I had one of those captain's beds with the drawers, and I hid them under there for many, many years. And it's funny because I was just cleaning out some things the other day, and I found that box of rocks. So I think I'm going to frame that, and it's going to go in the Rock Girl Museum someday. But I always communicated with stones, and I would sleep with them under my pillow, and I would put them with my animals, and I always felt close to nature that way. And I also felt very close to spirit. And a lot of times, if I had a decision to make, I would go to the rocks, and I would choose a rock and kind of let it tell me what it had to say. And so my personal relationship started very early on with stones. And then through high school and college, I had a lot of crises growing up, family dysfunction, regular adolescent angst, things like that. And I would seek solace in the stones. But I didn't pull them out, Maury, because people would make fun of me. And so I kind of kept that under wraps. And then when I was about 17 years old, I took a Reiki class, and I realized that I started to get this energy that could run through me and heat up the stones and things like that. And I always felt a bit odd and out of place, and I think a lot of the light workers and the sensitives out there can relate to that. And we all kind of in the closet about our psychic abilities or our healing abilities or the ability to speak to those who've passed over or the angelic realm. And so when I was in my early 20s, I lived in Philadelphia, and I was going to Temple University, and I started to take a lot of self-help classes and read a lot of books. Was it you that I saw on Facebook that had Shotki Gawain on your show once?
Yes, I did.
You know that? Yes, I saw that. I was like, go Maury, go Maury. That woman's book, Living in the Light, changed my life.
Me too. That was my first book. Yep.
Yes, with the orange cover.
Yes.
And it had to be 86 or 87.
Yep, 87, yep.
Was it 87? Yeah.
Yep.
And my mother couldn't handle me. I guess I was a bit difficult and kind of a bit difficult to understand. And she sent me to a therapist and said, you need to help her. And the therapist happened to be a woman who believed in fairies and Reiki and all of this good stuff.
Oh, wow.
And she whispered to me, there's really nothing wrong with you, but keep coming here. And she hand-fed me these books, and I signed up for Reiki, and it really changed my life. And so I sought out the guidance of teachers and authors and mentors, such as Shotki Gawain, and I went on to read every one of her books. And in a quest to find out what was wrong with me and how I could be normal. And as I read more and more, I began going to classes. I went out to California. I took classes. I ended up going to New York. I took classes. I worked for a company that sent me to the UK a lot for work, and I took classes over there as well. And I soon bumped into gurus who I had the good fortune of studying one-on-one with. And I've been studying since I've been 17 years old, and I'm almost 46, so I'm embarrassed to say I can't do the math. But let me do my calculator here. 46 minus 17. 29 years. Can you imagine? Whoa. And so it's been in a quest. And, I've taken Reiki 17 times and over these 29 years. And people say, well, why? Because I learned something new about myself, and I learned something new from every teacher. And it's really been a path of self-discovery and spiritual transformation. And through that, I connected with my stone teacher, Robert McCall, a.k.a. the Supreme Troll, and he has since passed away, he transitioned, let's put it that way, last July. And I studied with him for many, many years, and he taught me everything I know about stones. And yes, of course, I've read all the books, and I've taken a lot of classes, but really I learned through word of mouth, through my stone teacher, Bobby, and other master teachers out there as well. And then I studied Reiki with many, many teachers, and Sir Jeffrey Noble over in the UK. I did a Crystal Reiki course, which took me 9 years, and an Atlantean Reiki course, which took me 11 years. And,
wow.
I roll, that's in addition to the other types of Reiki. And so it's been a lifelong love affair, so to speak, with rocks and Reiki. And I studied them separately, but what I didn't realize is that they're so compatible. The energies of Reiki amplified the energies of the stones, and the stones amplified Reiki. And through that, I've built the Rock Girl, and through the Rock Girl, I built the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School, where I teach psychic development, Reiki, rocks and Reiki, sacred energy healing, and I have the entire Master Stone program, which is a 3.5-year program if you go from start to finish. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And the biggest point that I'd like to make in that is a lot of time I kind of let it astray. I went and I chased boys for a while, and then I chased the career, and I put the stones down, and I the Reiki and the psychic ability never left. I just didn't listen to it and got in a peck of trouble every time I didn't. But, I always found my way back to it, and I'm sad to say I had to get myself in a good old crisis in order to reconnect a lot of times, because we all kind of fall off the wagon from time to time. But in the last couple of years, I've gone through a divorce, and that was probably one of my biggest crises. And so, I have to say the rocks, the Reiki, the psychic, the spiritual community really saved my life, or else I would have been in a big old hole.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And I've been able to connect with people like you and other light workers. And so it's really been a lifesaver, so to speak.
Well, you've been a lifesaver for me, that's for sure. I mean, we go way back now, Allison. It's been years.
I know!
Years.
Eons.
I just want to say to everybody who's sending in questions, God bless all of you for having so many questions. Sam's little fingers are just going to fall off his hands typing them over. Please, 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 we need three numbers between 1 and, 1 and 41? No.
1 and 41. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, between 1 and 41. Three numbers. You guys are sending one number. So please pick three numbers, and then we're going to get to those in a little bit. So just readjust and pick your three numbers. You should see it's just like they're pouring in. So that's very, very cool. So thank you. And everybody's writing in nice and specific. Allison requested if you're going to ask a question, please keep it as specific as possible, because then and if you give her the three numbers with the stones, she'll be able to do a nice good, solid reading for you. So we're going to get to that in a little bit, so you guys can just adjust yourselves. Three numbers between 1 and 41. Okay, so let's talk about transformation, because that's the theme of this. I know there's two things that I wanted to note, because you're a brilliant spiritual leader, and we have so many spiritual leaders listening. Thousands from 90 countries this time, Allison, and we have thousands and thousands listening to these calls and the replays. And two of the things I wanted to point out, because I like to point out good habits. I was actually doing an Akashic record reading today with a client, and I was saying, she's a budding healer, and she said, I'm afraid, to get started. I'm afraid to follow up, and you guys are so, talented and different. And I said, no, we're not different. We have good habits. We have good habits. We stick to something. We're fairly consistent, and even not consistent, but we keep showing up. And the two things that you said that were key to, I think, your success, or at least things I wanted to point out, is that if you listen to Allison closely, she talks about continuous learning and her willingness to keep going, even if it took her 11 years to learn, Atlantean Reiki or whatever. And also what I thought was really interesting is the power of handing down. Because as you were willing to just open yourself up to your path and open yourself up to what was just of interest to you, you weren't thinking, I have to be a legend someday, I have to follow my life purpose, I must know my life, soul, destiny, journey, purpose, path in order to decide whether I should take this Reiki or this stone class. You just sort of went with the way your energy felt and who was handing down the information, because you had a very traditional, like an old-fashioned traditional handing down. It seems, because you have these teachers who kind of show up. And these teachers do show up for you. I know you're one of my teachers, So do you have any comments on that handing down process?
Yes. I get goosebumps when you talk about it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's how it was with me, and I'm sure with you. You just have to really, it's about you, and making that agreement between spirit, between your guides, and saying, I'm willing to learn, show me what I need to learn for my highest good. And honestly, I had taken Reiki on and off for years, to the point where I forgot how many times I took Reiki. I took Reiki about 7 or 8 times before I even practiced it. People were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. But I would find someone... Yeah, I would find someone who was really interesting. I'd go to a lecture or go to an expo. And for those who are just starting out, I strongly urge them to go to the expos and the lectures and sit in there. And eventually you'll resonate with something, and you'll find what I call the glass slipper. And, I was always interested in stones, and one of my friends, Linda, if she's listening now, I'm going to send her a big hug out there. She said, Allison, you've always been interested in stones. I would take stones and put them in my garden and put them around trees and wear them. And, it's funny because I was into it even when I was kind of off the wagon, so to speak. And so, I would find someone who resonated with me or said something or connected. It was really that energy, and then I would pursue it because, it was a hunger. It was not only a willingness or an openness. It was a thirst. Like I was restless. I needed more. And the books are great guidelines. They really, really are. However, I really love this handed down by word of mouth because it's tradition. It's oral tradition, just like the ancient ones. And there's nothing better than learning in person. And I would go all over with these teachers. And, a lot of times I didn't have a lot of money. But you know what? I gave up the Caribbean vacation. I mean, a lot of my friends in my early 30s, they were getting married, they were having children, they were going to the beach, they were going to Vermont, and they were going all over the place. And I didn't go on those vacations. I would go to my stone teacher's farm and help them unload rocks.
Right. Exactly.
And you know what? That was one of the best educations I've ever had. And so, the oral tradition of handing down information by word of mouth is of utmost importance to people like me. It all depends on how you learn. But when you're there one-on-one with your teacher, with your mentor, and they say, this is how you hold a rock, or this is how you run Reiki, let me see how you do this in person. That was very valuable for me. And when I teach, I like to keep the classes small. I'm having a seminar in Asheville in June. It's called Intro to Reiki Weekend Intensive. And I'm keeping it no more than 12 to 15 people because I want to know the names. I want to see your eyes. I want to see your energy. I want to stand right next to you. I want to watch you run energy. I don't want numbers. I have learned in vast groups as well, and I do assimilate and integrate energy, but there's nothing like hands-on approach. And for me, I'm very passionate about what I do. Can you tell? I'm like screaming. And whether it's Reiki, whether it's the Master Stone program, whether it's psychic development, I get a thrill out of watching that person connect to their own unique gift. And what you were just talking about earlier with people, saying, oh, well, you guys are unique, we're different. I think we're all unique, and I think we're all different. And what one of my jobs is as a teacher is to help that person identify what is unique unto themselves and to work on that and to bring that forward. Because, as you know, Mari, we're all just links in the chain here.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That is, my comments on that. And I also want to touch on another thing is that, lately I've had a lot of people come to me saying, I studied with this one teacher and it's not working out. And I believe that teachers appear when we need them, and then they disappear when we don't. And so I think we learn something and then move on. And part of being a good teacher coming from where I'm standing is I'll take someone as far as I can take them, and then I'll gladly, release them and encourage them to go on and study with other people, because there is no one be-all, end-all person in this kind of quest for personal growth and spiritual transformation. So it's a hard thing for the teachers to let their students leave the nest a lot of times, but it's definitely a necessity. And I did go to teachers training in various modalities in order to understand that, because it is like leaving the nest. I have just had, attuned a few Reiki masters last week, and then a whole other bunch throughout last year. And, these are my fledglings. They must go off and spread their wings. And what I do with the Rockville Sacred Stone School, and, is I encourage them to start their own businesses and to practice. And I do promote them. They're on my website, on my Facebook, and, that's a big part of the Rockville Sacred Stone School. In fact, tomorrow night when I do my radio show on CBS Radio, I'm featuring one of my students and her new Reiki practice. So Yeah, I mean
so
that
handing
has
it down. So you're in the position to hand it down too now, which is it's a true honor. It's absolutely an honor. You should see the number of questions coming in. This is insane. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about transformation and the crystals and things, and then we're going to get into these questions because that's going to take us a while, and we'll end up going to the end of till the show wraps. But let's talk about the aspects of transformation from your perspective, because I come to you in a heap. Allison. And you always sort of take your little stealth, your little stealth-like sword and say, right there, that's the piece. And I think one of the things I've been listening to people, especially looking at the questions coming in this week, and just doing so many readings and stuff, especially as of late, is I think people are trying to bite off more than they can chew. Like they think the transformation has to be, they plant a seed, and instead of knowing that it's going to grow roots maybe underground first, they think it's going to be like Jack and the Beanstalk, and it's just like, I'm going to hold this crystal, and everything's going to transform now. And if it doesn't happen in a week, they feel like they're a failure. So can you talk about, from your point of view, maybe some of the stages or the stages that you feel are, the stages of transformation, of just a few of them, or?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Now, that's a huge question, and transformation, for me, and how I teach it is it's an ongoing journey. It's a lifetime, process. And it depends. I mean, what kind of transformation do they want? I mean, there's plenty of different types.
Let's talk about. We had talked about this. We'll do it with categories. So let's talk about transformation in relationships. This is huge. I have seen at least, I think, 5 of my closest friends have met their soulmates this year, like their twin flame, like their serious, like love of their life relationships. And I feel like this 2012 energy is really opening up the way for a lot of relationships to break down and go away, and the real relationships to come forward. So let's talk about transformation in relationships first, then we'll talk about money, because I know that's another big one for people.
Yeah, okay. That's a great question. The reason I love the fact that you said that Transformation 2012, and this new energy, anything is possible. I love that, because it's true. And it's so obvious, and you really stated the obvious, but you're reminding people, about the obvious. And the reason that 2012 is such a transformational time, period, basically I'm going to take a moment to just explain that, is because 2012 is actually the end of the Mayan calendar. It's the end of a 5,125-year cycle of the planets throughout the universe. And if anybody ever listens to John Major Jenkins, he's a brilliant man who's spent many, many years studying the Mayan calendar, and I saw him last October at a conference. And if the people, John Major Jenkins, go Google him, look him up on Facebook, and read all about it, because he really explains the Mayan calendar. And it means the end of one world age, which is a 5,125-year cycle of the planets throughout the universe. And what happened is they took the word, through word of mouth, there you go, the word age kind of fell off the sentence, and it turned into the end of the world, okay? But it's really the end of one world age and the beginning of another. Mm-hmm. And the cycle of the universe, the cycle of the planets throughout the universe, they go through this cycle, and now they're all coming into alignment. And if you know anything about stones, they carry electromagnetic frequency. They come from the Earth, which carries a certain electromagnetic frequency. And all of the planets throughout the universe have this electromagnetic frequency. And as they're coming into a certain alignment at the end of this 5,125-year cycle, they're creating this strong electromagnetic pull. And that's really changing the energy within us. We also have electromagnetic frequencies, as do rocks, as do all living human beings, and it's called the auric field. And so these magnets, the planets, are creating a stronger electromagnetic frequency, which is literally raising the consciousness in our brains. We've heard of this shift in raising the consciousness and ascension. Well, what is that?
Right.
It's electromagnetic frequency, and what that does is stimulates the pineal gland in the center of our brain, which vibrates and lights up more parts of our brain. we only use between 4 and 7. Well, we only use between 4 and 7% of our brains. And as humans get, as we evolve, our brains get bigger, but we continue to use such a small portion. Why is that? Well, a lot of studies in Europe believe, and I agree with them, that the brain that is unused technically is storing memories from other lifetimes. And as this electromagnetic frequency raises, as these planets come into alignment, studies have shown that a lot of people are using between 9 and 11% of their brain. And so our brains are waking up because we're having a different electromagnetic frequency, which I find fascinating. Now, with that, a lot more people are becoming sensitive, psychics, healers. And what's happening, as you mentioned, a lot of relationships started to crumble and break up. Really, I saw a lot of it in my clientele, my life included, between 2007 and 2008. Things were crumbling. Yeah. I know.
Don't get me started.
a lot of us who are kind of out there now, we started to crumble a little bit before everyone else.
Right.
And that crumbling is kind of like, instead of a collapsing, it really, think of it as the breaking away of the old to allow what's coming up underneath it to flourish. And so, look at the economy. A lot of people can look at relationships, careers, things like that. And so what happened is, as the electromagnetic frequency was changing, a lot of relationships weren't working anymore. Now think of magnets. Two magnets, they come together and pop. They connect very steadily. And then if you turn one the opposite way, they polarize. So a magnet, two magnets can connect or they can polarize, depending on how they're put together. And the same thing can happen to relationships, any kind of situations, whether it's career or finance or relationships. And, we as people have auric fields. I think a lot of people listening are very familiar with the auric field. Think of that as your electromagnetic field. How many of us have walked into an elevator, and by the time you went 2 floors, you're like, oh, my goodness, I have to get off. I don't know these people in here, but somebody's got really bad energy. And so you had to get off at the next floor and then take the steps up the stairs. That's because your auric field and their auric field were polarizing. Or you go to a party and you immediately connect with someone, and you guys are together forever. And that is a connecting of your auric field. So we're really just like magnets, which really are stones. Magnets are a type of stone called magnetite. And that's why stones work so beautifully with people, is because we actually have the same crystalline structure as a stone, except people are, 80 to 90% water, and stones aren't. But stones can be used to balance the chakra systems and the auric fields. And just like magnets, people are either attracted or repelled to one another. Now, getting into this transformation of 2012 and relationships, due to the fact that our electromagnetic frequency is changing, and it's accelerated and exacerbated by this planetary shift, our frequencies are changing. And so that's why a lot of the twin souls are finding their way back to each other, is because we're vibrating more loudly, if you will, and people across the world are coming together because that electromagnetic pull is stronger. And it's a better fit, it's a more compatible fit, and it's a much stronger fit. And these relationships will most likely, if we clear out our emotional and mental baggage, because a lot of times that can affect the way these two magnets stick together. That's why these can last a lifetime and beyond. And so that is really how it works. And a lot of times people can use stones to align your chakras and cleanse your auric field, so you have like a purer, a cleaner vibrational frequency to pull to you what you need now, because what you needed 5 years ago was completely different. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what are the stones that, let's say you've met your person or you're interested in meeting? Are there different stones for someone who wants to draw in or raise their frequency in alignment with their twin flame versus somebody who's already met them and wants to advance the relationship, or are they?
Oh, absolutely. Excellent question. First and foremost, I suggest that anybody in a relationship or wanting to cleanse themselves to kind of attract that pure energy, work with smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is a really great stone to kind of ground and root you and get rid of all that old baggage. You know, in the auric field, there's 4 planes. The closest one is the physical plane. The second one is the emotional plane. The next one out is the mental, and the next one out is the spiritual. Now, a lot of times we're cool on the physical and we're cool on the spiritual. It's the mental and the emotional where we have a lot of gunk that's stuck, you know, childhood baggage, you know, mental kind of lack of confidence, things like that. So what the smoky quartz does is it acts like a magnet, and it kind of pulls everything down to the bottom of your auric field where the earth chakra is, and it acts like a shower drain, and it kind of clears that out. Because, you know, if it's dark out and you're looking for a light, if it's a dim light, you really can't see it. But if it's nice and bright, you can, and that's how this electromagnetic frequency works. And you know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Wow, I walked into the room," or the woman walked into the room and she lit it up with her energy. And that's what we're talking about. When people talk about that, it's really the auric field and the energy emulating from that person. And so, you know, mesmerizing is another word you hear a lot. And glowing, we've heard that. And really we're talking about their energy, not their physicality, because how many of us have seen technically beautiful people and they're not exactly that alluring, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yes,
but, you know, smoky quartz is a really great stone to start off with because it keeps that auric field nice and clean. Then for the root chakra, I suggest garnet, G-A-R-N-E-T, garnet. And that connects your physical root chakra to the earth chakra. So you're always going to have that connection of constant cleansing. And you know, to find that twin flame, to find that soul connection, there's some really great high stones for that. One, I like to work in combo, and I'll talk about the heart chakra for a minute. I've studied the ancient Egyptian etheric, that's E-T-H-E-R-I-C, etheric chakra system. And their heart chakra looks like a watermelon. It's pink on the inside for the spirituality and green on the outside, and that kind of represents the kind of physical body, and that we're spiritual beings in a physical body. And when you want that twin flame connection, that soul connection, you want to be connected physically as well as spiritually. And a lot of times people forget that. And in the traditional chakra charts that's floating around out there on the Internet, you know, you see the green heart chakra, and that's lovely, but that's just representing the physical. And so that's why a lot of times the relationships don't last because, you know, they haven't gotten to the center of the Tootsie Pop. And so, you know, we want that connection. So if you connect on the physical plane and the spiritual plane, imagine how much stronger that connection is. And really, that's the energy, the unseen energy that the twin souls recognize, whether they're, you know, across the world or across the room. And so for that, I always like to work with 2 stones for the heart chakra, 1 green and 1 pink. And I'm going to suggest a couple different combinations. And for everyone listening out there, you can try the combinations and find which one works best for you, because we're all at different points in our spiritual evolution. So the first connection or combination would be rose quartz and green calcite. Rose quartz is pink, green calcite is green. And you work with both of them, and you can go into a metaphysical store and pick them up, or an expo. And if you pick the stones up and you feel them warm up or vibrate, or you have an electromagnetic frequency or a little shock, you know they're working. If you don't feel anything, you might want to try something else. But trust me, I know that you know, Mari, when you connect to a stone, you'll know it. Some people feel things, hear things, your hands get hot, or other people feel buzzing. Everybody speaks to stones differently. So the first combo is rose quartz and green calcite. And that's really great. You can work with one in either hand. You can put both on your heart chakra. You can sleep with them under their pillow. There are many ways to work with the stones. And see if that little combo works for you. Now, the next one to try would be rhodonite, okay? That's R-H-O-D-O-N-I-T-E, rhodonite, that's a pink stone, and jade, J-A-D-E, jade.
Oh,
J-A-D-E.
That's a great combination. I like that one.
Yes, well, rhodonite's about the stone of a couple, and jade is about fidelity and loyalty and truthfulness.
Oh.
That is a really great combo. And then the last combo is rhodochrosite. That's RHODO, crosite, 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 and emerald. Okay, a lot of people are familiar with emerald. Now, the emerald does not have to be the gemmy, very expensive kind. It can be a rough emerald, and they're not that expensive at all, anywhere from $10 to $40 or $50, depending on how big the stones are. And that's another question. People are like, how big do these stones have to be? They don't have to be that big. They can be the size of a quarter. They can be the size of a goose egg, whatever works for you. I do suggest that they're in the rough or tumbled form, not in the polished form, because the rough or the gently tumbled, they're not as processed, and so you can really tap into those energies. Plus, the less processed the stone, the less expensive. So why pay more and get less? And so, I'll repeat those combinations again in this order. You can go out and get all of them and work with them in different phases. So you have the rose quartz and the green calcite as a couple. Think of them as a couple. Then you have the rhodonite and the jade, and then you have the rhodochrosite and the emerald. And you can layer them. You can use them in 1, 2, 3 punch, anything. Just try them out, and they will speak to you as to what works. Another really good thing is if you are in a relationship, one of you can carry the rhodonite for the day, and the other one can carry, the other half can carry the jade, and you'll be connected. And then the next day or the next week or the next month, you can switch, and you'll always be attuning to part of the whole. And so that's a really great way to work with them as a couple if your relationship is already established.
That's amazing. So if your relationship isn't established, then you carry one of these combinations with you, or work meditate with them, or hold them, and that will get your physical and your spiritual energy ready to connect with that of your twin flame or your
prepare
person.
is a good word. They'll prepare you. Yeah.
And then if you are in a relationship, it will amp it up.
Well, yeah, you work with one stone and your partner works with another stone, the other half, and then you switch.
Right.
Because that will keep you connected. And every time you work with a stone, it attunes you to a higher frequency. So I've had stones that I've been working with for 17 years. You just have to cleanse them with the sage selenite and sound, and I know that I did a free gift for you for the last Telesummit, the whole podcast on that. Just keep your stones clean, and they will keep working for you. And you know what? If you work with the calcite and the rose quartz and you feel like it's not doing anything, then move on to the next combination. And then guess what? In 3 months you might want to go back to the rose quartz and the calcite, because as you evolve, their frequencies attune and recalibrate to what you need. So that's the relationship department there.
Okay. So let's talk about the money department. And because there's a lot of questions coming in about that. In fact, you know what? Well, no, go ahead. Let's do a lay of the land of the money thing, and then I'm going to started getting into these questions because we've got a lot.
Okay. Yeah, the money, I want to caution everyone out there. They're always throwing that A word around, abundance. And, one of the things that I like to one of the philosophies of my teachings, of my readings, of my whatevers you want to call it, is be specific. Don't just ask for abundance, because if you're in abundance of debt, or if you're in debt and you want abundance, you'll get more. Or if you're 10 pounds overweight and you ask for abundance, then your butte might end up a bit 20 pounds heavier, abundant. So be specific. I would like an abundance of financial security, of cash. And when talking about money, I like to talk about cash, and I actually learned that from Star Fuentes, Scarr Fuentes. I always like to, this is not my idea, this is hers, and I took a cash class from her a couple of years ago, and you know what? It worked.
Wow.
It worked. And so I always used to think about cash and associate it with the color green, because money is green, is it not?
Right.
But so is the heart chakra, right? And so what I realized is I was having heart chakra issues and I was having financial issues. And Star Fuentes brought up a good point that money is actually something that we only deal with in the physical incarnation and not in the spiritual. And therefore, it is associated with the physical chakras rather than the heart chakra, right?
Oh.
So
yes.
when we're starting off, when talking about money and trying to manifest more, okay, I like to focus on the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, okay? The root chakra is about family and tribe and stability. And what do we need to provide for that in this world is money. The sacral chakra is about creativity. We all know it as you create babies in the sacral chakra, you create art. When you talk about creation and creativity, people think babies and they think art, right?
Yep.
Well, it's also the seat of being able to create cash. So, the sacral chakra, when I switched my energies, my awareness to the sacral chakra when it came to creating cash, that made a world of difference in what I was drawing to me. Mm-hmm. And also the solar plexus, which is the yellow chakra, which is in the over the solar plexus, literally. It's right below the heart chakra. That is the will center, and that's about confidence and willpower and your ability to make money. So creating money and putting out the intent would be the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus would be the ability to go out there. It's action. I mean, a lot of us just can't sit home and manifest money. We have to go out and work for it. And it's also, it's action. It's the warrior. It's the warrioress. It's the providing energy. And so first and foremost, finances, really kind of switch it from the heart chakra and take a look at root chakra, sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. First and foremost, so we're going to be working with 3 different stones. Now, we worked with sets of 2 when it came to the heart chakra. We're going to work with sets of 3 when it comes to finance, a red stone, an orange stone, and a yellow stone. And so, or a gold stone. And so my big 3 would be red calcite, carnelian, and pyrite. So red calcite for the root chakra.
Thank you for doing everything and being wonderful.
Carnelian for the creative sacral chakra, and pyrite, which is about fire and action. So they're a really nice 3 stones to work with when manifesting cash. And again, if you want cash, ask for cash. And again, as I was saying, as far as the readings go, when you write in today, be specific, because the more specific the question, the more specific the answer. And when manifesting something, the more specific the manifestation, the more or the intent, the more specific you draw to you. And Star said cash is best, because what if you get it in the form of credit or stock or real estate? Then you have to go through the next step of cashing it out to be able to use it. Mm-hmm. So be specific, ask for cash. And I like using these stone layouts on my personal body, on my physical plane. So the root chakra is the red calcite. And if men don't really resonate with red calcite, you can try red jasper. That works nicely with a male frequency as well. So if you're a man and you're not, grooving the red calcite, then try the red jasper. Yes. We all have different frequencies. And then the carnelian. The carnelian is really great for creativity. You want to create this cash. And carnelian is next to, think C, carnelian, C-A-R-N-E-L-I-A-N, carnelian creativity. And you're going to create that cash. You're going to create that intent. And then if that's a really great one. Orange calcite will work very nicely there as well. For the men folk, if the carnelian's a little bit too much of the divine feminine, try the orange calcite to kind of rev up that creativity. And then the solar plexus pyrite is excellent. Pyrite actually means fire in Greek, so light that fire in the belly. There's 2 other stones that you can interchange as well. You can do citrine, which is excellent for the solar plexus, and you can also do tiger eye. Yep. And you can really, yes, tiger eye is excellent for creating cash as well in the solar plexus. But when we're, when wanting to really increase your finances. Use the word create. I want to create more cash, because it really empowers you to make more cash instead of sitting there waiting for it to, fall off a truck or kind of fall out of the sky. I mean, really. Some people get lucky, but, most of us have to go out and create it, and it gives you that sense of empowerment. And with that entitlement, like, hey, I deserve this. I worked for this. But
right.
Think 3, root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus. A lot of people they think heart chakra, and it really, the frequencies are completely different. And you want to all of your physical chakras resonate with that, the physical energy of cash, because certainly we, on the spiritual realm, we leave that behind when we leave this physical body. And any and all of the combinations of the stones that I just mentioned will definitely work. Just make sure you use the root chakra, the sacral, and the solar plexus, because you want to create it and you want to bring it into your physical plane. A lot of us are so good at kind of putting out the intent, and people are like, well, I asked the universe for this. And you know what? My response to them is, I'm sure the universe heard you, and they probably brought it your way, but we're not open to receiving a lot of times. So when you're manifesting, work with your dominant hand. If you're right-handed, then work with sending the energy out of the right side of the body. But remember to be open to receiving this, because a lot of times we ask for all this stuff, but no one's home when the postman comes to drop off the package. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
And you'll be surprised at how quickly you can manifest that, especially with this energy of 2012. The electromagnetic frequency is much more effective at getting the energy out and bringing it in. It's like high tide versus low tide. When that wave rolls in and it's high tide, it comes in hard and fast. And I really believe that that's what's happening here in 2012.
I want to start with these questions. I just wanted to ask a quick question about Tiger's Eye. Can you use Tiger's Iron instead of Tiger Eye?
That is a most excellent question, Mari. The big answer is yes, you can use it. But the next question is what for? You know me, always thousands of answers here. But Tiger Iron is better for karmic connections, clearing karmic patterns, and so. Somebody like you who kind of knows how to navigate the in between the realms, if you feel that you have a blockage in between your karmic kind of waterways, so to speak, that blocks you, you can use that to clear the blockages. But in order to pull money into your physical incarnation, Mari, right now, here and now, in this lifetime, the Tiger Eye is better because it connects to the physical plane. And I would use that Tiger Iron separately to clear the blockages of why it's not coming in, but to attract the actual coin, the cash, that paper money. Use the Tiger Eye because it's less complicated.
Perfect.
Yeah. And
okay.
you know what? Let me just a little addendum on that. The Tiger Iron is made out of tiger eye, red jasper, and hematite. And hematite integrates things in between the realms, and so. You'd kind of, it's a bit heavy-handed to use for manifesting cash. But clearing karmic blockages, knock yourself out.
Okay. No, that's really good to know. That's interesting that I'd even bring it up. Cool. Because I have a big piece sitting next to me. I was like, I wonder if this counts. Okay, so let's get into some of these questions, my dear. I hope that you I hope you ate your Wheaties, because these guys are not holding back. Okay, I think some people actually wrote in twice because they wanted to put in their 3 numbers. So let me just start. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through because I was taking notes, Allison. I wasn't screening questions. I was like, okay, here we go. Hello, Mari and Allison. Thank you for this opportunity. My question is, my apartment lease is coming up for a renewal once again. Do you see me moving or staying? I have much anxiety with this decision. Thank you. And the numbers are 21, 6, and 13.
Oh, 21.
And that's from Louise in Virginia. 21, 6, and 13.
11, 12, 13. Okay, wow. Okay, we have the Sacred Lemurian Seed Crystal, Divine Feminine. We have the Galena Stone, which is the stone of spiritual alchemy. It is also the stone of the goddess. And then, goosebumps, we have Lapis Lazuli, which is about speaking your truth. There's some type of conversation that she needs to have with this landlord person. It's coming up for renewal. Is that correct?
Yes. It says, my apartment lease is coming up for renewal once again. Do you see me moving or staying? I have much anxiety with this decision.
Okay.
That's from Louise.
Okay. I do see her staying. Okay, I do see her staying, but she's going to have to do some type of negotiating as far as getting what she wants out of this. I don't know whether it's a 1-year lease or it's a little bit shorter. I don't see her staying for a whole another year. I see her doing, the word negotiation comes up, spiritual transformation, speaking up of the Divine Feminine. There's some type of negotiation she needs to make. I do see her staying and then moving on after this renewal of the lease. Is it a 6-month lease? Is it they're not. I asked if it was a month-to-month, but they took that away. So the answer is yes for almost the next year. There is some type of negotiation. It may be an out clause, but I do not see her leaving immediately. She's going to be leaving later after some form of negotiation. She's got that lapis lazuli. It's about learning how to speak up. The inclination here is that she doesn't want to leave, but there are terms that she needs to negotiate. But I do see her moving on after this last renewal. I hope that makes sense.
Awesome. Oh yeah, no, that's terrific. Thank you. Okay, so oh boy, so many questions. Moni in Tennessee writes, she just says, Allison, 2012 love life, marriage, and her numbers are number 1, 35, and 39.
Okay, number 1.
35 and 39.
35. And did you say 29?
No, 39.
Oh, okay. So 25.
No, 35. 1, 35, and 39. Oh, you were counting, sorry.
Oh, 35, yeah. And you said
39.
Okay. The answer is absolutely yes. The question was what? Love life, marriage, what?
Is she, in 2012, will she have marriage?
Okay. The first stone is Charite, Charoite. It's the stone of rapid transformation. Fasten your seatbelt. It's not going to be fun, but it will be transformational. It'll be necessary transformational. There's golden healer running through it. The next stone is Rhodonite. Didn't we just talk about that? Hello. Yes. It's the center stone, and it's all about the stone of the couple. And then we have Fuchsite. But Fuchsite is green, so there's a nice pink and green combo there. But Fuchsite is all about healing. It's about holistic healing. And I don't know whether this person is into holistic healing or not. They're showing me that she's going that way, or she is, okay, ingrained in that. And you know, I don't know whether she's kind of learning, or almost a practitioner. Pursue the holistic path, and there she will find love, is a direct message from Spirit. So the answer is yes, but it's not going to be till the end of the year. They're showing me the month of December. Now, that does not mean that nothing's going to happen. It could be an engagement, a coming together, that type of connection, but absolutely a very strong read here. Do your work, pursue that holistic path. If this is something that you've been thinking about jumping into, but afraid that they're showing me rolling up the sleeves, you might be learning, taking classes. Pursue the holistic class, because there you will find love. But it's on around the end of 2012. Don't rush it. the person on the other person in this relationship, a lot of times people are like, oh, will I find it? But really what you have to realize is that you are one part of a whole, and so the other person is going through their process as well. So the answer is yes, on or around the end of the year towards December, continue on this holistic path because that's where that connection is going to find its seeds and grow. They're doing something this summer as far as learning or training. Continue on that path. If it's something they've just been thinking about it, definitely dive in. But it's more like the beginnings of a long-term partnership will really take hold towards the end of the year. So don't rush it. Don't. Oh my goodness! What 2012, December 21st? Duh! How magical is that? So the answer is yes, but take your time and trust in the universe and the timing, because they don't want to take that souffle out of the oven until it's perfectly ready.
And believe me, you don't want to be dragged through while they're cooking the souffle with another person. Let him cook a souffle on his own and then come to you already cooked.
Exactly.
Just like Mari's 2 cents from personal experience. Okay. The next person, a lot of soulmate questions here, but I'm going to go to this one. Jane in Vancouver Island. I have chosen the numbers 27, 9, and 11 to represent me. What do you see as my spiritual strengths, and what will it take to break through to receive the opening I desire?
Excellent question. What was the first one?
The first 27. 27.
Okay. Good Lord. Okay, and they want to know what will it take?
What do you see as my spiritual strengths, and what will it take to break through to receive the opening I desire? I guess spiritual opening, I think. I don't know if she was...
Yeah, that's what I'm getting here. Well, it's so funny because, they ask and the stones deliver. The first stone that she chose is bloodstone, okay? Bloodstone is a green stone, and a lot of times it's connected to the heart as far as courage, okay? And it's courage to overcome obstacles. And I always see bloodstone come up when there are obstacles in the way, but it never comes up unless the victory is ensured. But it's one of the biggest stones in my kit here. And the courage is all about trusting your intuition and pursuing your psychic abilities and staying true to yourself. And so I'll read the stones. I'm going to get into this a little because it's a great question, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with a lot of people out there. Okay, first stone is bloodstone. It's about overcoming obstacles, and it's a given that you will. And we're going to talk about obstacles in a minute. The second stone is chalcopyrite. It's also known as the peacock or peacock stone. It looks like it's a stone that has all of the colors of peacock's tail. And it represents, and I use this stone in the higher level psychic development, the waking up of all of the clairs, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, the clairrecognizance. And so it's all of that psychic ability waking up. And then the last stone is the jade stone. And the jade is, it can be it's all about loyalty and fidelity in relationships, whether it's with someone else or in this case with herself. And it's about staying true to her path. What these stones tell me is that this person has had psychic abilities and connections to spirit, and she's probably thwarted her intuition and tried to talk herself out of it, probably quite logically at times. And she has not stayed true to herself as far as trusting her own instincts and her connection to spirit. And so what's coming through is pursue those psychic abilities. Take a psychic development class, developing your intuition. There's a lot of books out there. Mari, I know you teach this stuff, and you have a lot of information on this stuff. Develop that intuition, develop that psychic ability, trust it, and stay true to yourself. And that's going to open up an entire world. And I call it the direct line to spirit. It's like, they're going to pick up the phone and they're like, you hear all this static. And they're not listening to their guides. But our guides are with us at all times, as you well know. And developing her intuition and that psychic ability, she's going to pick up that line, and she's going to have a direct dial tone to spirit and hear it loud and clear. And so I want to take a moment and just tell her that she can work with the 3 stones that are going to help her do this. first and foremost is the bloodstone. And really, the bloodstone got its name because there's a myth, you know how they have these legends, and the knights of King Arthur, he would send them out into battle, and they would be overpowered. Their steeds would become hurt. I don't want to talk about really what happened to those poor animals in battle, but they may lose their steed, their armor. They may be outnumbered, but they wore stones in their breastplate to protect them, and whoever wore the bloodstone came back intact with all of their limbs and victorious unto their own right. And so it's a stone of overcoming obstacles, especially if you're outnumbered or, in a lot of cases, emotionally or spiritually wounded. And so work with that bloodstone. Work with amethyst, okay, on the third eye, and work with some garnet, Garnet, because that's going to really kind of ground you and recharge your battery, because what I'm getting is that this person has really kind of fought her intuition or not really listened and is running out of a little juice. And so, the first and foremost is just develop that intuition, take that into psychic ability, and she may want to follow that up with some energy work. And make an appointment with Mari. She'll help you.
Thank you. You're so funny. Thank you. Okay, good answers. Oh, you're so awesome. You guys how lucky am I to have Allison as my friend? And all of you for you to be here with us and sharing all this stuff. You're so generous. It's so amazing. Okay, so wow, so many questions. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is from Mariana in Portugal. Thanks for being up, Mariana. I appreciate that. It's pretty early over there, pretty late over there, however you want to say it. So her three numbers, 39, 14, 28. 39, 14, 28. And she says, great transformation is coming for me in the next 4 months. Just how big a transformation will this be? Will I change my profession? Thank you both and lots of love. Maria in Portugal.
And the first number again is?
39.
Okay, 25, 30. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 39, and I got the other two. Great. Yeah, I count out loud. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
The answer is absolutely. Now, this is really interesting. This is the second person tonight that got the charoite stone, Charoite, charoite. Now, it's a Russian stone, and any Russian stones are incredibly powerful, and it's the stone of rapid transformation. What is tonight's topic? Transformation. Now, there are other stones out there that are joyous transformation, like the chrysanthemum stone, where we tiptoe through the tulip and throw flowers. That's joyous transformation. This is rapid transformation, and again, it's the first stone. Then the second stone is a citrine druzy. Citrine druzy, D-R-U-Z-E. It's a type of citrine. It's got all these little sparkles on it. It's an auric cleanser. It's about change. And then the last one is the famous malachite egg. It's malachite.
Oh, God, I get that all the
time. Yes, which is health, wealth, and prosperity. It's in the form of the egg of the new beginning. So the answer is absolutely. Okay, like yabba dabba do. Absolutely. Will she change her profession? And I don't know what the timeline was in her question, but it's happening now.
In 4 months, she said, within 4 months.
Oh, yeah, because, I see this really getting started as soon as they're showing the guides that's backing me. I said as soon as, and they backed me up, and they put as early as June, okay? And so, rapid transformation, auric cleansing, and new beginnings. Now, the new beginnings they're showing me is July. There's some type of cleansing, purging process that this person is going through or about to go through, and that's the most important part of this process, is making sure that cleansing and purging is done purely. They keep saying pure, 100%. Don't rush it. Do what you need to do, because the new beginning, the seeds aren't really going to take hold if you don't get all of that energy out. They're showing me physical purging, getting rid of things. They may have just gotten out of a relationship. It does not necessarily mean a romantic relationship. It's probably that work-related boss-type energy. But really cleanse that. Take a little bit of time off and then jump into this new career. So without a shadow of a doubt, this is occurring. The timeline on this depends on how quickly they shed the old. It's auric cleansing, which means physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Okay, so they're going to have to do purging and cleansing on all levels.
Wow.
And they're showing me here that there's going to be the hardest scrubbing bubbles need to go on the mental plane. The yes, I can do this, and no, I'm not holding on to old baggage. So I hope that helps.
Oh, my goodness. Well, if it doesn't, I don't know what would. So there you go,
well, you know,
Maria.
all this is easier said than done. Letting go is a really hard thing to do. I can tell you that myself.
Oh, yeah, me too. Oh, God. Yeah, let's not even get started. That's a whole other show. You'll come
Right.
on the radio show. We'll talk about letting go.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah. For the 12-12-12 Telesummit. You guys, we're doing a 12-12-12 Telesummit, so you can mark your calendars for December 1st, 2012 through 12-12-12. And I assume you're going to be there, Allison. So.
Absolutely. I will.
Yep, we'll catch up on all things 12-12-12. Okay, so this next question is, my three numbers are 3, 7, and 36, and I would like to know anything you could possibly tell me about my future finances, as I am really concerned right now with some losses I've experienced. Thanks so much. I love your content. Rose in Arlington.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's 3, 6, and the last one was what, 36?
3, 7, and 36.
Oh, okay. 35. Oh, okay. And it was 36, you say?
Yes.
All right. You know, they keep showing, is this person trying to start their own business? Because the hematite, which means own business, keeps coming in, but it's farther out. And so did she say she was, the guys are coming in with all sorts of information. So can you repeat the question?
So she says, well, she put her birthday here. I don't know that makes a difference. It's February 7th, 1947. And I would like to know, this is what she says, I would like to know anything you could possibly tell me about my future finances, as I am really concerned right now with some losses I've experienced. Thanks so much. I love your content.
Okay, great. Thank you. All righty. Now, the center stone is the amethyst druzy. And when you get anything in the druzy form, it's very powerful. Remember the citrine druzy we just talked about? This is the amethyst druzy. And amethyst is about the spirituality, all right? And so there's a bigger message rather than the shorter one in here. The short answer is the losses that she has experienced are coming through her guides. She has the celestite stone as the first one, as a message that she was going in the wrong direction. They're not going to take everything from her, but this is like a loud wake-up call, because if she didn't come upon these losses, she would have kept going this way, and she's really supposed to be going the other way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the answer, the bigger answer, is about the spiritual plane here. And listen, I'm all for the spiritual plane, but I do know that we live on planet Earth in the physical plane, and we do need cash. I do see her own business, or working from home, or simplifying and kind of working from home. They keep showing working from home as a way to supplement her income and also start something new. Now, this may sound far-fetched out in left field. She may be like pounding her fist and saying, no, I can't do that. But her guides are saying, yes, you can. So if she keeps on the path that she's going, she will come across some more roadblocks. What she has to really do is kind of tune into her guides. Now, you connect to the angels, yes?
Yes.
Okay, because this is celestite, and this is all about the angelic realm.
Best of the best.
Huh?
That's the best of the best.
Ah, indeed, it is.
The angels. Yeah.
Yes. And so if this person has a hard time hearing her guides, perhaps she can make an appointment with you or tune into your show or something and get the direct message from that, because the angels will guide her in what her true path is, because she's straying from it. I mean, obviously not on conscious choice, but she needs to get back on that, and her finances will improve. What I can guarantee her is that by pursuing this spiritual route, she will raise her frequency so she can rise above the turbulence that is keeping her from making that income. You know how a plane has turbulence and then they have to go up higher? That is what they're showing me she needs to do on that spiritual plane, and really connect to her guides. I don't know if she reads cards. They're showing that she needs to kind of read cards and connect to her angels that way. But her guides are clearly on the angelic realm, and I do see some type of work from home that will roll into her own business. It's going to start out as something supplemental and then turn into something more substantial. Or what they're showing me is that's the possibility should she pursue that. But the reason that the losses are incurring is because they're kind of, it's like sandbags, kind of slowing her down from going in the wrong direction. So I hope that helps. And this is, you know, I understand that finances are always scary, and we need some immediate gratification, but this is a slow landing here. She's going to be okay, but she needs to start, you know, kind of, and they keep showing me an airplane for some reason, so I don't know what that means, but you know, she's going to have to start turning this plane around and going in a different direction.
Wow.
So I hope that helps, but there's something from home that she can do to supplement her income that will lead to a bigger, much more rewarding career, and she's really got to dial into that spiritual plane and connect to her angelic guides, because therein lies the answers.
And they're so powerful. They really are. I have a lady from Sweden who wrote in, and I always try to answer these because they're up at very strange hours in the morning. So thank you, Tina. Her name is Tina Falk. And, okay, so her numbers are 6, 7, and 41. And I have to pick one of your two questions because we're going to run out of time. So I am going to pick...
Well, can you read me both, and I'll let you know what the stones apply to?
Okay, yeah. Perfect, okay. I want a transition with money. I'm so blocked. Can see it has a lot to do with my family's ways of looking at money, but also my own way of seeing it. Then her second question is also my parenting skills. My children, 4 and 6, don't listen to me, and as a single mom, I'm overwhelmed. What to do soon? I just can't take it anymore. That's from Tina in Sweden.
Okay. Well, I think these stones apply to both.
Okay.
The first one is lapis lazuli, and that is the throat chakra stone. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. You know, as far as the children go, she's talking too much but not saying what she wants. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She needs to. Yeah, it's almost she needs to speak in stop, go, yes, no, as opposed to try. They're showing that she says too much in a sentence and it gets kind of jumbled. You see.
Right.
And it's interesting because the next stone is hematite, okay? The next stone is hematite. It's about business. Did she have a question about money or something?
Yeah, her question was, I want a transformation with money. I'm so blocked. Can see it has a lot to do with my family's ways of looking at money, but also my own way of seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a question. She's just...
Yeah, no, the hematite comes in when there's a money issue. But it also, she has 2 children. Did she say one was a boy?
Yeah.
She did?
No, she said just 4 and 6 years old. She didn't mention his book.
Here's my number.
Okay. You know, we're looking at the younger one. 4 and what?
6.
Yeah, no, we're looking at the younger one. That there's a understanding issue there. I'm not saying there's impaired by any means, but the way that she's communicating to them, he doesn't, or I keep wanting to say he. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But there's a lack of understanding on the younger child, and that's why they're not listening. The older one is very gifted psychically, and it's kind of almost running away with that. You know, so there's so much going on. And so what she needs to do is really stay grounded and rooted and dial into each child's individual frequencies rather than trying to treat them as a collective unit. Does that make sense? Because they're both obviously at the different developmental stages, but they're showing me different spiritual frequencies as well. The older one, they keep showing me purple, psychic, and the other one is not understanding words like they should. So speak slower and in more directions. As opposed to having entire conversations. The last stone is a scepter. It's a Tibetan quartz scepter, a very powerful stone. It's about taking your power back. don't feel bad about being a single parent. Take your power back and just be the best parent you can be instead of trying to be both. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
And as far as the children, and treat them, if she'll take the time to kind of look at each one separately and developing that kind of almost telepathic communication with each one, it's more of an energy exchange. They'll feel like they're getting what they need and be much more responsive. And she may want to read up on a book about psychic children for the older child, the 6-year-old, because those abilities are almost, they're showing me a cup spilling over. And being a psychic child myself, I can understand that because there was so much energy running through me that I didn't really have a good grasp of reality either. I probably didn't listen to my mother. That's why she sent me off to the therapist. So, take one thing, and it's interesting because it's about, she has a lapis lazuli stone, which is about speaking her truth, but it's also the stone of the goddess Isis, who is the mother of them all. And so, look up Isis. Study Isis, the goddess, because there's a lot of energy in there, and it's about intuitive wisdom. It's about being a teacher. And instead of just being a parent and trying to be a parent of both, the father and the mother, because they're showing that she's spreading her energy, really study Isis and how she nurtured, but she also was a teacher as well. So I hope that helps. That this question really should be an hour-long reading, as you well know. But take your power back. Look into the Isis stone and really dial into the frequency of each child. And the lines of communication will be much more clear.
Well, I know that Sam might be done. My son might say weird again. Happening.
Oh, Maury, I can't hear you. It's all like...
Okay. Well. Okay, Sam, help her.
Hey, Allison, I'll go ahead and ask you a question while Maury...
Oh, yeah, did you hear that, or was that just me?
No, that's been happening. We've got something going on with her line. It just gets weird after about an hour and 15 minutes or so.
It's our energy. It's like it's smoking over there.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and ask you another question while she reconnects with us.
Okay.
Let's see. How about this one from Catherine in Cleveland?
Okay.
What future do I have with stones? I used to break up rocks with my dad's hammer when I was a child, and I love geology. And her 3 numbers are 5, 8, and 9.
Oh, 5, 8, and 9. Ah, very good. Okay, the first stone is orange calcite, and so all about refreshing and change and the sacral chakra and reconnection and vitality. The second stone is an amethyst scepter, and it's all about amethyst.
I'm back.
Oh, yay!
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
The second stone, which is the center stone in the overall tone of the reading, it's an amethyst, which is about spirituality, and a scepter, which is about empowerment, and we're going to get back to that in a minute. And the last stone is chalcopyrite, which is about awakening your psychic abilities. And so the question was basically, what future does she have with stones?
Yeah. What I don't know which one he asked. Was it Catherine in Cleveland?
Yeah, that was the one. So what was the question again?
So what future do I have with stones? I used to break up rocks with my dad's hammer when I was a child. Loved geology. Missing. So she said she picked numbers 5, 8, and 9.
Yeah. Okay. And so I just kind of the orange calcite is about positive change. And so the answer here is clearly she's at the dawning of a new part of her life. An awakening is what they're showing me. And she can tap into the power of stones by utilizing them to connect to a higher spiritual realm and actually wake up her psychic abilities. Again, here's the second person tonight. I mean, a lot of times we get the budding healers calling in, and there's a lot of budding psychics out there. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah, tonight. And utilize these stones to wake up and activate. So it's awaken and activate your psychic abilities. Work with, I'm going to give you a couple stones. Amethyst on the third eye, the labradorite, Labrador, like the dog, labradorite is an excellent stone. It's a stone of illumination. You can work with that as well on your third eye, and the chalcopyrite. So amethyst, labradorite, and chalcopyrite are 3 really great stones to start awakening your psychic abilities and connecting to that higher spiritual realm. And, that's the first and foremost. And then after that, I do see her getting into crystal gridding is what they're showing, planetary gridding.
Cool.
Yes, but wake up the psychic abilities first. They're going to heighten the sensitivity that she's going to need and raise her frequency. And I do see her getting into crystal gridding. Where is she from?
Cleveland.
Ah, yeah. There's some important work coming up for her in 2014 and 2015 as far as utilizing stones for planetary gridding. But, wake up that intuition and sensitivity first. So congratulations. That's very exciting. Woohoo!
Yay. Well, I have another one here. We're getting close to the end of the show, but I can't tell you how many questions are sitting here. I think you guys like this crystal thing, huh? Okay. Here we go. I hope I can pronounce her name. Hi, Allison. The numbers I've chosen are 11, 12, and 34. And she says, I'm an artist, music, art, and healing, and have many areas of interest, but find it challenging to know what steps to take. I would like to know which direction to focus my energies in order to move forward. Thank you. And that's from Yasika in Minneapolis.
Ah, okay. So I got the first 2 numbers. What was the last one?
34.
Okay, 25, 30. Ah, okay. And her specific question was, she was an artist, and what else?
Healer. She's an artist with music, art, and healing, and she has many areas of interest, but finds it challenging to know what steps to take. And she'd like to know which direction to focus her energies in order to move forward.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is, I love the answers are in the stones here. The first stone is bloodstone. We just talked about what that means. It means overcoming obstacles, and obviously it's a home run when you get this. You do have obstacles, and in this case, there are blockages. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And that's once you clear them, it's full speed ahead. You have the second stone, which is carnelian. We talked about that for the sacral chakra. It's the seat of creativity. It's also about cash. And the last stone is the Merlin candle quartz. It looks like a white candle with a pointy top with candle drippings down, and it's all about soul's purpose. And so first and foremost, she is on the right path, and there seems to be a little bit of waffling back and forth about that. She is on the right path. I do see her combining the music and the healing, okay? That is the first step, because they're showing all the stuff in the air, but there's some type of healing through sound, okay, that's going to help her remove her own blockages and then go on to help others. Which is interesting here is they're showing me where does the creative stone come in? There's some type of, and they're showing that she'll actually channel this. So I don't know if she's into channeling yet, but that's the direction she's going. Mm-hmm. Utilize the music, the sound healing. So work on herself first. And then what's going to happen, she's going to reach a certain tone. And I want her to investigate, to do some research on the solfeggio healing tones. That's S-O-L. F is in Frank, E-S-S-I-O. Solfeggio. It can be spelled S-S-I-O or G-G-I-O. Solfeggio. It's actually Italian, and it can be spelled with 2 S's that sound like a G or G-G-I-O. Solfeggio healing tones. Okay, solfeggio healing tones. If you have any problems, email me at info@therockgirl.com. I'll send you a link. Those are the healing tones at the very beginning of the creation. And then when Christianity came, they rendered them obsolete, and they invented do, re, mi, so, fa, la, ti, do. Because the solfeggio healing tones were used by the Gregorian monks and all sorts of healers. Yes. And when they chanted those tones, it accelerated the healing in the DNA. And my website, on both websites, The Rock Girl and SacredStoneSchool.com, I have music on there by the Gregorian monks, and everybody's like, what is that music? It's sung in the tones of the solfeggio healing notes, and it's a very powerful healing tone. And with that said, these are the tones that the monks chanted to raise the energy in the temples. And how did they build all these giant buildings and the pyramids and everything way back when without any cranes or lifts? They chanted and they raised the energy. And so this particular person who's asking the question, she's very connected to the solfeggio healing tones. And I took a tuning fork course, and I'm a tuning fork instructor, although I don't really teach that. And they're in the solfeggio healing tones, and they help remove blockages. And so that is an intrinsic part of her own healing process, and she will go on to help heal others through that. And her work will lie mostly within the sacral chakra right now, the seat of creation. And this will actually bring her not only create healing and a new business, but also it will create cash. So I hope that helps.
Well, I can't imagine that it wouldn't, Allison. You're beyond generous. I know we only have 2 minutes left, but there was one question I wanted to get in. If you could give a short answer to this one, and just because it's a health-oriented question. She says, "Hi, Allison. I got a loud message from Spirit the other night, adrenal boost. What stones could I use to help with adrenal glands? My numbers are 7, 11,